What's going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my WEC 34 review video. Solid night of fights. Two fights on this card that can be up for at least one that's got a 5-round fight that probably one of the best ones I've seen in a long time. A really, really good fight. And two fights on this card that definitely could be fight of the year, along with Lawler and Smith, and man, good fights. So let's talk about the first fight of the night, Razor Rob McCullough versus Kenneth Alexander. Kenneth Alexander really surprised me in this fight, and I kind of dogged him in my predictions video and said that he really hadn't progressed, but this is the best that I've seen Ken Alexander in this fight. He looked really, really good. The first round, both guys were just having back and forth striking. McCullough was trying to change levels, watching for Alexander's takedowns. Alexander had the reach advantage on him. McCullough ends up falling into guard on Alexander, and tries to work a little bit of ground and pound against the fence. And he had a couple good clinches in the first round. Tried to throw a flying knee. An excellent takedown defense. Excellent takedown defense in the first round. Second round, Alexander finally got a takedown. Put McCullough down on his rear. McCullough again showing his underrated wrestling ability, getting out of that, getting up, throwing a nice stiff jab on the way up. Again tries to throw a flying knee in this round. Several times in this fight, tried to throw a flying knee. The third round, you got to see McCullough throw more leg kicks, push the pace, was very aggressive. I mean, that's really what won him this fight. Otherwise, Alexander, for the most part, kind of did pretty good in the stand-up aspect. Actually gave the second round. I gave the second round to Alexander the way that I scored it. So, Rob McCullough wins this fight via a split decision. And it was actually a close fight, a lot closer than, I think most people thought it was. But congratulations to Rob McCullough, moving his way back up towards his title. Next fight, Mark Muniz, or Munoz, however you want to pronounce it, versus Chuck Grigsby. This fight was pretty crazy. Grigsby is, a lot taller than Munoz. Grigsby used a couple good leg kicks. Both guys were, throwing some pretty good combinations, good inside leg kicks. Munoz, he seemed like he was having trouble trying to get inside of Grigsby. Couldn't get Grigsby down. Grigsby, just landed some pretty good shots on Munoz, but Munoz finally gets a takedown, starts working some shots, and man, he lands some nasty overhand shots a couple times from the standing position, and he actually finishes Grigsby on the ground via a TKO. I know they called it a knockout, but it really wasn't a knockout, it was a TKO. He knocked Grigsby out on the ground, but generally, that's a TKO, but they call it a knockout. So, Munoz looked pretty damn good on the ground, so congratulations to him. He looks like he's going to do some pretty good things at the light heavyweight division. Next fight, Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Danny Castillo. Danny Castillo making his debut in the WEC. Castillo comes out, throws some pretty good punches, inside leg kick, and he lands in a takedown on Cerrone, and Cerrone, man, pulled off some nasty moves. He went for, any of you guys that have rolled or done jiu-jitsu, you even heard Frank Mir say he went for a pyramid position, went to an omoplata, almost had a go-go plata for a second, for a mere second, he almost had that underneath. Then he rolled over to a shoulder lock, and then he rolled into an armbar, and finishes the fight. Beautiful display of jiu-jitsu. That was some pretty sick stuff he was pulling off, and Donald Cerrone wins via submission. Way to go for him. Next fight, Miguel Angel Torres versus Yoshihiro Maeda. This fight was a fight of the year candidate by far. Both these guys, all 3 rounds, both these guys going back and forth. Torres just too much for Maeda though, as far as the reach. He looked a lot crisper in this fight than I really thought in his last fight, with a couple of combinations, a couple really good stiff jabs. The jabs that he used, his left jab, it actually ended up closing up Maeda's eye. towards the third round, and at the end of the third round, Maeda couldn't continue, so they ended up stopping that fight, and Torres got the TKO victory. But Maeda had some pretty good submission defense, had some pretty good leg kicks. He was doing well in the first round, actually cut Torres, but in the end, he couldn't get inside of Torres, and he just ended up falling to the pressure. So, wow, great fight, the way that it went, and fight of the year candidate right there. That was a great fight. Next fight, Uriah Faber versus Jens Pulver for the featherweight championship. Fight went all 5 rounds, and man, it was back and forth. Jens really surprised me in this fight. He had excellent takedown defense, and I didn't really, I thought that Uriah would be more explosive and be able to take Jens down, but man, he had some pretty good takedown defense. It wasn't until the later rounds, around the third round, the fourth, and the fifth, that Uriah started instilling some takedowns, and back and forth. Uriah looked pretty good with his combinations. In the second, Uriah actually, against what I said, that I didn't think Uriah was going to knock out or even rock Jens, he freaking made Jens almost go to the ground. Nasty right hook. Jens was kind of wobbly, and in the same round, Jens actually rocked Uriah a little bit with a nice, beautiful left uppercut. So, this went back and forth. The second round, of course, also, you saw Jens try to go for a Darce choke, couldn't get that in. Third round, back and forth striking. This fight was just absolutely great. The fourth round was the tall tale round. Uriah actually, timed the takedown and took Jens down to just really solidify the fourth round, and then the fifth, just landing good combinations, and gets another takedown and just seals the victory and ends up winning via I think it was a unanimous decision. I think they scored it twice, 50-45 and 50-44. So Uriah retains the featherweight championship, and if you didn't get to see this fight, check it out. If you can get it on Joe Sando or even on Daily Motion or YouTube. Fight of the year candidate, this one as well, and probably one of the best 5-round fights I've seen in a long time. So let me know what you think of this review video. Leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. And on that note, you guys, have a great day.